We want to now talk about Lee. It is churning in the Atlantic. Winds and large waves propagating out from the stretching storm, not only causing coastal hazards, but also major issues for ships.
Right. James Van Fleet is a marine meteorologist, and he's joining us live to talk about this. Thank you so much for being with us. And the big question we've kind of been curious about is how are these, let's say, cruise ships being rerouted due to Lee?
It's a tough one for you guys. And first off, good morning to you, Jordan and Stephanie. I want to thank you for having me on here from Miami. In the Northeast, it gets a little tricky because there's not as many ports to run to for cover as you might have down in the Caribbean. Now, there's about 8 to 10 cruise lines operating out of around the New York City area and other smaller lines coming out of Boston and some of the smaller metro areas along the Northeast. Where this gets a little problematic is, as you guys have been talking for several days, as Lee weakens moving northward faster and accelerating, it gets wider. It's going to start, the wind field gets bigger and bigger. And the go, no-go for a lot of these ships are around 5 to 7 meters. They all do metric offshore, by the way. We're the only ones still doing standard. What that translates to is waves around 20 to 30 feet. If they see waves around that high, they're going to bug out, cancel ports, and find some alternate routes. It still gets even trickier still because of something called the Jones Act. It's a 100-year-old law, merchant marine law, essentially, that for the most part is beneficial for the United States. It's a good law to have. Where it gets problematic is all those ships are not American ships. They're registered in the Bahamas and other parts around the world. And that law requires that when you leave an American port, you have to go foreign before you can come back to America. That means areas essentially like Canada is the only spot you're going to be able to get to, Halifax, St. John's, areas like that. So what may happen for a lot of these lines leaving in the next day or two is what they do, a cruise to nowhere. That allows them to come back to the same U.S. port that they left out of. But it's a big heads up for all of you who might be trying to go to a nice little bit of a fall, early taste of fall, getting out of that summer heat, going to Canada for a couple of days. You may be sitting on the ship for that full 5 to 7 day cruise.
Wow. All right. Now, I know you're a meteorologist, but I know that you also know this industry like no other. You're the best of the best when it comes to this. In general, if there is a storm, do people get their money back if something gets canceled or if they get sent somewhere else that they weren't planning on going? Is there anything you can get back?
Yes, I sure can. I can help a lot on this topic. So a couple of things there. If they have to drop a port or 2 ports, they usually will give you a refund for that day or that port and all the money you may have spent for excursions or activities that you were planning to doing. Here's one other caveat, though. If they know they cannot make any of the ports, and this is a cruise that's about to leave, they are required to let you know before they sail that they are not going to be making any of the ports that you bought, and you are supposed to be given a chance to not go on the cruise and get a full refund. So they are required to do that. But I will say that with a lot of these lines, they're also trying to make that decision as absolutely late as possible to see if they can get into any of those ports.
All right, in 10 seconds, if you were planning a trip on a cruise, would you go or not?
I tell you, for this one with Lee and the limited options, if you've got a really good ship, I would go because you can have so much fun on the ship. That can be the destination. If it's a smaller ship and a little older, may try to get a refund and book somewhere else another time of the year.
All right. Good to know. We really appreciate it. Marine meteorologist James Van Fleet, we really appreciate the insight.
Yeah. I've never been on a cruise, but if I go on one, I want to be on the ship with him.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Yeah, totally.